Hello, this is the histological organization of the mammary gland. Remember, I said the mammary gland is an appendage of the skin. It's a modified, okay? So, these are the objectives. Okay, we'll discuss the different parts of the mammary gland, the differences between, so for that, differences between lactating and non-lactating mammary gland. And you need to understand the mechanisms by which milk is produced and released. So the mammary gland is a modified sweat gland. How do you classify it? Remember, we talked about classification of glands, so under discussion of epithelial tissue. So it's a compound tubular alveolar gland, and it contains 15 to 20 irregular lobes. 15 to 20 irregular lobes, and each lobe has a duct, and the ducts open in the nipple. The development of the mammary gland and its functioning is usually influenced by sex hormones. So the breast tissue is composed of the epithelial component and stroma. So the epithelial component is mainly glandular epithelium, and the stroma is mainly connective tissue stroma with adipose. Okay. So the nipple and areola, basically, you have the 15 to 20 lobes have ducts, which you call lactiferous ducts, that open in the nipple. What is the epithelial lining of the ducts? The stratified squamous epithelium that is near the opening at the nipple. And deeper in the connective tissue, the ducts usually have stratified columnar appearance, and this is really a cuboidal duct cell that sits on a myoepithelial cell. That is why it looks stratified. Remember, we said stratified means more than one layer. So when you find the ducts are lined by cuboidal, hypocuboidal epithelium, but myoepithelial cells are lying on top, so it sort of looks stratified columnar. Okay. Then we have sebaceous glands, okay, which are glands of Montgomery that are seen within the nipple areola region. So the nipple areola region has dense, irregular connective tissue. Abundant connective tissue fibers haphazardly arranged, so dense, irregular connective tissue within the dermis. And this is usually interrupted by fascicles of smooth muscle cells that insert into the connective tissue of the dermis. These smooth muscles are the ones, when stimulated through suckling, they contract, causing the nipple to erect. Okay, so the nipple actually has abundant nerves, so that during suckling the nerves are stimulated. Okay, the nerves within the dermis will be stimulated and cause the smooth muscles to contract, leading to erection of the nipple. This is the histology of the nipple. It's covered by stratified squamous epithelium because the skin. You can see the ducts, okay, opening at the nipple, and we have said the stroma is mainly connective tissue within the dermis with abundant nerves and smooth muscle cells. So let's discuss an inactive mammary gland. Inactive does not produce milk. Okay, someone who is not breastfeeding has an inactive mammary gland. So you have to always discuss the glandular part and the connective tissue part. So the connective tissue will be dense, irregular, abundant fibers, haphazardly arranged. And the glandular portion, the glands will be quiescent. They are not producing milk. So they'll be quiescent with few clusters of small ducts. The ducts will be small. They don't need to, transmit milk. So the ducts will have cuboidal layer with myoepithelial cells still present, but they're not abundant. And then you have a lot of adipose tissue. A mammary gland that's not producing milk, the adipose tissue is more than the glandular tissue. The glandular tissue is quiescent. It's not producing milk. And the ducts are not patent. Okay, there's no milk. So this is you can see the stroma is more, and this is the glandular portion, the quiescent. Okay, these are the glandular portion, the nucleus of the glandular epithelium. Quiescent, but the stroma is large, connective tissue stroma, dense, irregular, haphazardly arranged. Okay. Again, this is just to show you the ducts of mammary mammary glands, simple cuboidal, then myoepithelial cells around them, so making it look like it's a stratified epithelium. Appreciate the fibroblasts within the connective tissue stroma. Remember, fibroblasts spindle shaped, yeah? They are wider at the center than taper roof at the edge. So look at this again. This is the glandular portion. This is the connective tissue stroma portion. So collagen, elastic fibers, some immune cells are within here. This is the glandular portion. So we go to the active mammary gland. Look at this glandular portion. It's quiescent. Okay, the nuclei are not as prominent. Active mammary gland is producing milk, so the glandular tissue is more compared to the adipose. Then you have a lot of epithelial and myoepithelial cells in the glands and in the ducts. Okay, so the ducts, you'll see the cuboidal and myoepithelial cells, abundance. Okay, then the cells of the glandular portion are proliferating, so they'll show features of mitosis, high proliferation, high cellularity. Okay, and then within the connective tissue, you'll see a lot of fibroblasts, a lot of immune cells, like plasma cells, because remember, baby is going to suckle the breast and bacteria can enter from the baby's mouth. So you need immune cells to protect an active mammary gland. Then the epithelial cells are usually large and clear, and the apices of the cytoplasm are clear. Okay? Then the epithelial lining, again, inner cuboidal, the ducts, and outer myoepithelial cells. So just to recap, differences between lactating and non-lactating mammary gland, or active and inactive. So if you're to discuss the glandular portion first, lactating mammary gland is very active. The glandular portion is active. The cells, the glandular epithelium, have high features of mitosis. So those features of mitosis include prominent nucleus and nucleoli. Then you will see abundant rough endoplasmic reticulum and ribosomes that produce protein. And the milk, in terms of protein, will be seen within the vesicles. So the ducts will be patterned and with prominent lining of the simple cuboidal and myoepithelial cells. Then when you are to look at the connective tissue, it will be small compared to the glandular tissue and abundant of plasma cells to protect the breast from any bacteria that's coming from the baby's mouth. Of course, you will see collagen and elastic fibers, fibroblasts, immune cells. Non-lactating mammary gland, on the other hand, the adipose tissue, the connective tissue, is more than the glandular tissue. The glandular tissue is quiescent. It's not producing milk, so you may not appreciate the features of mitosis. The cells are not proliferating. Cells are not actively producing protein. So mitotic spindles will not be seen. The nucleus may not be prominent. Ribosome, rough endoplasmic reticulum may not be prominent or abundant because we are not producing milk. While the connective tissue stroma will be filled with collagen and elastic fibers, okay, and abundant adipose tissue. So those are the differences between a lactating and a non-lactating mammary gland.